Hey folks, welcome to the video. We're going to bake a bread from start to finish without a Polish or biga or anything like that. And so I've chosen a bread out of this book. This was my first bread baking book that I got when I moved to the States and wanted to be able to have bread from home. Knusperiges Brote und köstliche Brotgerichte von Betty Bossi. Anybody who's lived in Switzerland for any amount of time recognizes that name. And today, we're going to be baking Betty Bossi's Hausbrot. Had to look that one up. Betty Bossi's Hausbrot looks great, doesn't it? Hopefully you can see that in the video. Hopefully ours looks as great as this one. So in order to bake that, we're going to need some flour. One of the things that you'll find out when you start to bake Swiss breads is that a lot of the recipes call for flours that you can't find here. There's things like Ruchmehl and Vollkornmehl and Halbweissmehl. Yeah, and they are impossible to find here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using whole wheat flour. I don't have a preference. Use your brand of choice. This happens to be from Whole Foods. I like King Arthur flour as well, so go for it. We're also going to need some all-purpose flour, some salt, yeast. Now I've got it in a jar. You can find it in packages in the stores. What you can't find and what often Swiss recipes call for is fresh yeast. It's really hard to find that, and most of us don't have that in our refrigerator, and since we're not going outside right now, you're just going to have to make do with what you got. If you're ever looking for fresh yeast, try Wegmans. They tend to have it in the aisle where you find the instant breads from Pillsbury and others. You know those. It's very ironic, actually. The recipe also calls for malt extract. We don't have that lying around the house. I'm going to use honey. I've got some nice raw honey here, but you don't need anything special. Any kind of honey will do, whatever you have. This is from Trader Joe's, you can use that as well. The final ingredient you're going to need is water, and my recommendation is to either use filtered water or bottled spring water. Your tap water is fine to drink, but there are some additives in there that can inhibit the rise of your dough. My advice is use filtered or bottled water. Get your ingredients together, and let's get started. So, we have the bread. Hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. It's going to take a little time to cool off. You don't want to cut into it right away. You kind of want to give it a chance to cool a little bit before you slice into it. So before you put the bread in the oven, put in a small pot or pie tin or something at the bottom of your oven and add a little hot water. That will produce steam and give your bread a bigger rise. I forgot to do that. Another thing to think about. I used 150 grams of whole grain flour, but you could use more. You could go to 200. I wouldn't recommend going above 300 without significantly changing the recipe to accommodate the different kind of flour. Also, what you could do is replacing part of the whole grain with something like 10 grain hot cereal from Bob's Red Mill. It's got 10 different grains in it. Highly recommend using that as an option as well. I can't wait to cut into the bread. And so we're finally done. The only thing left is to try it. Looks great. That's good bread. Betty Bossi Hausbrot. Have a great evening. That's good bread. Hey there, folks. Welcome to Baking Swiss Bread with John. That's me. Fudge cookies. Take 28. All right, so seriously, a lot of us are chomping at the bit. Chomping at the bit. Oh God, this is so bad. What am I doing? You could put a small container oven. Can't remember what else I wanted to say.